Oregon didn't expose Colorado for being overhyped or overrated because they were neither one of those things. You see, there are Oregon fans who keep DMing me saying, oh, we exposed Colorado. Colorado was getting all this hype and attention for nothing, and they weren't even a great team. Like, the reason why Colorado was getting so much media coverage and so much attention is not because of the expectation of them being able to win a national championship or them being able to make it to the college football playoffs. The reason why Colorado gets so much media coverage is because of Deion Sanders being the head coach. What's so hard to comprehend about this? Deion Sanders is the most popular coach in all in college football. If you're the age of 21 through 30, if Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, or Ryan Day walk into your parents' living rooms, your mom and dad are probably going to say, who the hell is in my living room? They know that they're head coaches, but they don't know who the hell they are. But if Deion Sanders walks into your mother's or dad's living room, they're going to know who he is. You want to know why? Because your parents grew up watching Deion Sanders. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents grew up watching Deion Sanders. Like, almost everybody in America that watches college football knows who Deion Sanders is. But a lot of people who watch college football, tend to make it seem like Colorado's getting all this attention because people think they're supposed to be a great team. No, people are watching Colorado because of Deion Sanders. My grandparents are watching Colorado games, and they don't even watch football. They don't really even understand all the rules to football, but they're watching Colorado play because of Deion Sanders being the head coach. That's the prime effect. This not about them being overhyped or overrated. They were never overrated. I mean, bro, they had an over-under win total this season of 3.5. They were a 21-point underdog against TCU, a 21-point dog on the road against Oregon. How the hell were they overrated? I didn't hear a single person on ESPN or FS1 say that Colorado was going to win this game. Oregon fans are trying to engineer a narrative that is just false. And Deion Sanders even called it out. You think that we needed to be humbled because we were arrogant or we were cocky? No, we're just confident. And if our confidence offends you, that's a personal problem. You see, the reason why people don't like Deion Sanders in Colorado is more because of it being personal. They get tired of seeing Colorado on their news feeds. I'm so tired of seeing all these Colorado posts. Well, the reason why you see all these Colorado posts is because you always comment how much you're tired of seeing Colorado. So when you engage with these posts about Colorado, they're going to be more posts about Colorado because they get clicks and engagement. That's what it's about. People love to watch Colorado, and people get all riled up about Colorado getting so much attention because of Deion Sanders being there. It's not about them, and the expectations of them being a championship contender. You see, only the people who are Deion Sanders haters or just don't like to see success are rooting for Colorado to fail and are thinking that Colorado is overhyped or overrated. You see, you can only be overrated if, people overvalue you for what you actually are. People knew that Colorado overachieved up to this point. Nobody thought that Colorado was going to beat TCU other than my crazy ass and a couple of other people. I mean, they beat Nebraska. They survived Colorado State. If somebody would have told you that Colorado was going to be 3-1 heading into their game against USC, you probably thought they were crazy. You see, the reason why Colorado has garnered so much attention is not just do they have Deion Sanders as their head coach, but with the fact that they had overachieved prior to getting beat down by Oregon. So if you're overexceeding expectations and you got Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders is balling out, then what do you think is going to happen? You feel me? We got to stop with this whole overhyped and overrated nonsense, because the only people who are calling this team any one of those two things are the people who don't really follow college football all that much. And I see people keep throwing out the term casual when the people who are throwing out these casual terms or trying to label you a casual are the people who don't really understand how the hell college football works. It's funny that people who are mostly calling other people casuals when they root for Colorado don't understand that Colorado is a team that is not expected to compete that much. They probably at best are going to win 6 games at most. You feel me? So if you're a casual, you're probably going to watch a Colorado game and expect them to be a great team. But if you actually follow college football and you understand how college football works, you will know that it takes time to build a championship contender. You got to build a team through recruiting in the transfer portal, and it takes at least 2 to 3 years to be able to do that. Hell, look at LSU and USC last year. Although those teams exceeded expectations and they were able to improve their team by a lot via the transfer portal, they didn't win a national championship, nor did they make it to the college football playoffs. You want to know why? Because it takes time to build up a dynasty. It takes time to build up greatness. Alabama, their first season under Nick Saban, lost to Louisiana Monroe. They only won 7 games. They won a championship contender out the gate. It may take Colorado less time than other programs to become a championship contender, but they were never going to be a national championship caliber team in one season with everything that they got from the portal. So if you were thinking that, then you're the casual and you don't really understand how this sport works. And a lot of people that are watching Deion Sanders don't even watch a lot of college football. More times than not, you're watching Colorado because of Deion Sanders being there, and you're intrigued and seeing how this thing is going to turn out. You know, like my grandparents are watching Colorado games, and they don't know much about football. They don't even watch the NFL or college football at all up until Deion Sanders went to Boulder. So it's like all these people who are now starting to watch Colorado that are trying to label this team as being overhyped or overrated, obviously don't follow college football and don't understand the intricacies of this sport. College football isn't the NFL. You don't just sign guys free agency and have a good draft and poof, you're a championship contender. In the NFL, you can out-coach people. You can scheme your ways to win. In college football, you can only scheme so much if you don't have the talent. Eventually, when you're going up against a team like Oregon or USC, you can have great play calling and a great scheme, but it still won't matter if you don't have the same amount of talent as the team that you're going up against. And that's just the reality of college football. You got to have talent if you want to win. Even if Deion Sanders is as good as a head coach as a Nick Saban or Kirby Smart, it's still not going to matter because he doesn't have all his guys. Deion Sanders a couple of weeks ago said that we're like 7, 8 guys away from being the program that we want to be. We're 7, 8 dogs away from being able to compete with the Oregon or Washington or USC. You don't just get to that level over the course of one offseason. You know, it takes at least 2 to 3 years to be able to build that kind of roster. So Oregon beating Colorado didn't expose them. What got exposed about Colorado that we didn't already know? We knew that they didn't have an offensive line. We knew that they didn't have a defensive line. We knew that their defensive line was dog shit and that they probably weren't going to get too many stops in this game. So what about Colorado got exposed that we didn't already know? We already knew that Oregon was a mismatch against Colorado. We knew that Oregon probably was going to smash them. There's a reason why they were a 21-point favorite. To be overrated, you have to have expectations that are unrealistic. It wasn't unrealistic to expect Colorado to win at least 3 games or more. You know, like Colorado has overachieved, if anything. So if they have overachieved, how are they overrated? Once again, they had a projected win total of 3.5, and they're already at 3. They've already tripled the win total from last year. So what makes this program overrated? Getting a lot of media coverage doesn't make you overrated. You got Deion Sanders. At the end of the day, ESPN and FS1, they're trying to make money. You want to know how you make money? By generating high ratings. And you know who generates high ratings? Deion Sanders. So therefore, if you have somebody who generates a lot of attention and a lot of high ratings that brings in revenue, guess what you're going to do? You're going to tend to push them and try to cover them more so you can continue to bring in high ratings. Did you know that since Deion Sanders became the head coach of Colorado, that in their first 3 games, they have amassed $90 million in ad revenue? If they continue at that pace, they could probably have nearly almost $1 billion in ad revenue generated for that school by the end of this season. There's a reason why Colorado gets so much attention. It has nothing about the expectations of them being able to compete. It's just about being able to run a great business. And running a great media business or company involves you giving a lot of coverage to people that want to be, watched. People want to watch Deion Sanders. You can't get mad at that. He earned that. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the most famous athletes of all time. You feel me? He's on hell of commercials, hell of advertisements. Everywhere you go, you can't escape Deion Sanders. Every time you turn on your TV and you watch an NFL or college football game, you're guaranteed to see at least one Deion Sanders commercial or at least one thing that references Deion Sanders. It's not Colorado being overhyped or overrated. It's just good business. If you're running a business company, you want to promote the people that are going to bring in the biggest audience. And that's what Deion Sanders does. What's so complicated about this? You feel me? I think that this is pretty self-explanatory about how this works when it comes to business and media. You have Deion Sanders, a polarizing figure, somebody that people either love or hate. And when you have somebody that's polarizing a Deion Sanders that people love or hate, people are going to tune in to watch to do one or two things: root for him to win or root for him to fail. And that's why Colorado and Colorado State broke ESPN's record for being the most watched game in their company history. Every game that Colorado plays in does record viewership. You want to know why? Not because people expect this team to compete for a championship, but because they want to see the results every single week with Deion Sanders being the head coach. Plus, you have Shedeur as the quarterback. There's other things that make Colorado appealing. Even if Colorado was 0-3, people would still be watching them because of Coach Prime. So they're not overhyped. What is being overhyped? What is being overrated? Nobody really has a textbook definition about it, but Colorado, people want to watch them because of Coach Prime, because they're an interesting team. And plus, they're a Cinderella story. You got Deion Sanders and he's 3-1. Who's not going to watch? You watched them against Oregon because you wanted to see them lose. Or you either wanted to see them win and pull off the upset. That's why they get so much media coverage. You be complaining on Twitter, why is everybody always talking about Colorado? Why is there so many Colorado posts? Because, fool, you comment on it and you engage with it. And when you engage with the content, they give you more of it. If you don't want to see Colorado on your feed, guess what? Don't interact with Colorado content. Just keep swiping. It's common sense, people. It's crazy how they call it common sense, but a lot of people lack it.